If you ever want to understand how a family can love each other deeply while also behaving like they're one broken air conditioner away from a constitutional crisis, you don't need a political science degree. You just need one summer day in Queens when the heat climbs so high it feels personal. Not sunny heat. Not nice for a picnic heat. This is the kind of heat where your shirt becomes a sworn enemy and your furniture starts giving off the vibe of we're all going down together. In that kind of weather, people don't just sweat. They reveal their true personalities because patience evaporates faster than common sense. The bunker home is already a pressure cooker before anyone even says hello. Mike is trying to stay calm the way a man stays calm when he lives inside a permanent debate club. Gloria is doing that heroic spouse thing where she keeps the household moving while pretending she isn't one more comment away from leaving for an undisclosed location. Edith is floating through the living room with her gentle optimism, like a tiny angel sent to prevent the entire family from turning into an argument-shaped cloud of smoke. And Archie is exactly what you expect. He stomps in like he owns the floorboards, the weather, and the concept of comfort itself. He comes home from work convinced that the world owes him relief, preferably in the form of cold air and hot dinner, delivered immediately and without any of that explanation stuff. The air conditioner is broken, which is already a tragedy in Queen's summer terms, and Archie treats it like a betrayal. He sits there fanning himself with a newspaper like he's trying to swat away the sun. He complains about the heat like the heat is listening and taking notes. Mike suggests practical solutions, which is Mike's fatal flaw. He believes practical solutions matter more than emotional outrage. Archie responds the way Archie always responds when someone suggests something reasonable. He treats it like disrespect. Because in Archie's worldview, if you're not validating his suffering at full volume, you're part of the problem. Meanwhile, next door, a fresh new threat to Archie's peace has arrived. Frank and Irene Lorenzo. Now, to a normal person, the Lorenzos would be a gift. Friendly neighbors, warm smiles, a sense of community. Frank is cheerful, charismatic, and the kind of guy who sings while he works because happiness just leaks out of him. Irene is capable, helpful, and handy in a way that makes Edith feel like she's discovered a secret superpower. A woman who can fix things without turning it into a dramatic saga. Edith, being Edith, is delighted. She loves people. She collects friendships the way some people collect recipes, joyfully and with full faith that sharing is always good. She walks next door and comes back glowing, talking about how nice Irene is, how pleasant Frank is, how wonderful it is to have neighbors who feel like family. She's so happy it makes the room lighter, even though the temperature is still trying to melt the curtains. Archie, however, hears Frank's singing and reacts like someone has started a siren in his ear. He doesn't interpret singing as joy. Archie interprets singing as noise, and noise is basically Archie's personal enemy. Frank's voice drifting through the wall is, to Archie, not a charming detail. It's an invasion. It's a declaration of war on silence. Archie starts grumbling about the Lorenzos the way some people grumble about taxes, like it's unavoidable and designed to hurt him specifically. But Edith refuses to let Archie poison her new friendships. She decides she's going to do what she does best, bring people together. She invites Frank and Irene over. She imagines warm conversation, laughter, everyone sweating politely and bonding in the glow of neighborly goodwill. She's not wrong to hope for that. She's just underestimating the power of Archie's ability to turn any social event into a stress test. Frank arrives, and immediately you can feel the shift. Frank is bright, lively, and fully himself, like a man who believes the world is worth enjoying even when it's 90 degrees and the air feels like soup. Archie watches him with the suspicion of a man observing a stranger who is too happy, because Archie doesn't trust happiness that arrives without suffering. In Archie's emotional economy, joy must be earned with a down payment of misery. Frank shows up happy for free, and Archie can't process it. Then Frank announces he's cooking. Not just cooking. Cooking. Fancy cooking. The kind of cooking that involves confidence, flair, and dishes that don't come with simple instructions like heat until bubbling. Edith is thrilled. Gloria is intrigued. Mike is supportive because Mike always supports anything that feels like culture and kindness. Archie is already preparing to be offended because fancy is basically a foreign word in his living room, and foreign words make Archie itch. Frank serves vichyssoise, a cold soup. Now, cold soup is one of those things that divides humanity into two groups: people who have tried it and have opinions, and people who have never tried it but still have opinions. Archie belongs to the second group. He stares at the bowl like it's a prank someone is playing on him. He doesn't say, "Interesting, tell me about it." He says, in essence, "Soup is hot." This is not soup. This is something that got confused. Frank, trying to be polite, explains that it's supposed to be cold. He explains the concept. He explains that warming it ruins it. He uses the word weeps, which is a charming culinary phrase unless you're Archie and your brain immediately translates it into "this food is emotional and therefore suspicious." Archie does not want his soup to have feelings. Archie wants his soup to be hot, thick, and possibly capable of fixing a carburetor. So Archie reacts the way he always reacts. He criticizes. He complains. He makes jokes that are half jokes and half attacks. He turns the dinner table into a tribunal where the accused is a bowl of cold soup and the charges are being weird. Edith tries to redirect. Gloria tries to keep things from getting ugly. Mike tries to reason, which again is like trying to calm a raging bull by showing it a chart. Frank keeps smiling, but you can feel the tension. It's not just about soup. It's about Archie feeling like someone else is controlling the atmosphere in his house. Archie is used to being the loudest voice, the heaviest presence, the center of gravity. Frank shows up with charisma and culinary confidence, and suddenly Archie's dominance is threatened by a man who doesn't even need to raise his voice. And under all of Archie's complaining is something much more human: jealousy. Edith is happy. Edith has friends. Edith is enjoying herself, and Archie feels left out. But Archie can't say, "I feel left out," because that would require vulnerability, and Archie treats vulnerability like it's a contagious disease. So he disguises it. He turns it into criticism. He turns it into outrage about soup. He turns it into principles about how things should be done. Edith, though, is not as soft as people assume. She's gentle, yes, but she's also stubborn in her goodness. She finally tells Archie, in her sweet but firm way, that she's tired of him ruining things. She wants friends. She wants community. She wants joy. And she's not going to let Archie's moods bulldoze it anymore. She doesn't yell. She doesn't insult. She simply draws a line with kindness, which is somehow even more powerful because Archie can't fight it without looking like a bully. For a brief moment, Archie tries to behave. He lowers his hostility from full eruption to grudging tolerance. The dinner continues. Frank cooks more. The conversation staggers along like a wobbly table. It's not perfect, but it's alive. And then, because this household cannot go 30 minutes without a new complication, Edith discovers an older man wandering outside. Mr. Quigley. He's in pajamas. He's disoriented, but not helpless. He's escaped from an old folks' home because he's tired of being treated like a piece of furniture. He wants to call his daughter. He wants dignity. He wants to feel like a person again, not a burden. Edith brings him inside because Edith cannot see someone vulnerable and not respond. Archie walks in and finds a stranger in pajamas on his couch, and you can practically hear his internal alarm system go off. Archie demands explanations like he's hosting a courtroom show. Edith tries to explain in her Edith way, which is warm, scattered, and full of emotional context. Archie wants the short version. Mr. Quigley, meanwhile, is not in the mood to be intimidated. He's old enough to have outlived politeness when people talk down to him. The conversation turns from awkward to surprisingly deep. Mr. Quigley talks about getting older, about money, about the way society treats the elderly like they've become invisible. Archie, who loves complaining about the government, finds himself facing a person whose life is shaped by those systems. Mike, of course, leaps into the debate because Mike can't resist a moral argument. Gloria watches with that expression that says, "We cannot have one quiet day, can we?" Archie calls Mr. Quigley's daughter, expecting a warm family reunion vibe. Instead, he gets a cold response, the kind that reveals family pain without needing a long speech. Archie is rattled. It forces him to see something uncomfortable, that not everyone has the kind of family loyalty Edith offers freely, and that aging can be frightening not just because your body changes, but because you might lose your place in people's hearts. Then Mr. Quigley's friend arrives to pick him up, and the final twist lands like a small emotional bomb. His friend is Josephine. They're not married because marriage would cost them financially. Archie, who expects life to follow traditional rules, is confronted with a reality where love exists but paperwork punishes it. Even Archie struggles to argue with that. It's one of those moments where the comedy softens and the humanity steps forward, where the jokes don't disappear, but they sit beside something real. Mr. Quigley leaves, and the house exhales. You'd think the day would calm down after hosting an impromptu existential crisis with a side of cold soup. But no, this is the bunker home. Calm is not a permanent setting. Calm is a temporary glitch. Because Gloria has her own drama now, and it arrives in the form of a statue. A romantic sculpture of a couple kissing. Tasteful, artistic, sentimental. Gloria likes it. She sees it as beauty, as culture, as a sign that she and Mike are building a home with personality. She places it proudly, like it's a centerpiece of modern married life. Archie looks at it and reacts like someone has placed a scandal on the table. The statue includes nudity, and Archie does not do nuance when it comes to nudity. He's offended. He's embarrassed. He's angry. He doesn't say. Art can be interpreted in many ways. He says in spirit, "Why is this indecent thing sitting where I eat my dinner?" Archie's outrage is not subtle. It's a full-body event. Gloria refuses to back down. She's an adult. It's her home, too. She's not going to let her father dictate what she can display. Archie insists it's inappropriate. Mike tries to explain art, which is like trying to teach a cat algebra while the cat is actively leaving the room. Edith wants peace. Everyone is talking at once. The heat is still brutal. The broken air conditioner is still mocking them from the corner like a silent villain. And then Gloria uses the most powerful weapon in family history, the silent treatment. She declares she is never speaking to Archie again. No passing ketchup. No responding to his comments. No acknowledging his existence. Archie pretends he doesn't care, but Archie cares the way a proud person cares, by getting angrier. He demands attention by demanding things. He tries to provoke her into breaking. He treats the kitchen table like a war zone and ketchup like a strategic asset. Meals become absurd. Archie asks for something. Gloria ignores him. Archie asks louder. Gloria ignores him harder. Mike tries to play mediator, and Edith tries to soothe the atmosphere. But nothing works because Archie and Gloria are locked in a battle of wills. And it's hilarious in the way family fights often are from the outside, because the stakes are both ridiculous and deadly serious. It's not about a statue. It's about respect. It's about adulthood. It's about control. It's about Gloria refusing to remain a child under Archie's authority. Then Frank Lorenzo, the cheerful neighbor who accidentally became an agent of chaos, gets pulled into this statue drama too. The statue is connected to him in some way. He wants it back. Archie, seeing an opportunity, hands it over instantly, like returning it is a moral victory and an escape hatch. Gloria is furious. To her, it feels like Archie has stolen something meaningful just because he could. To Archie, it feels like he's restored decency to the universe. Edith feels stuck. Mike is outraged because Mike is always outraged when Archie wins by maneuvering around fairness. Archie tries to fix it by buying a replacement statue, one he considers appropriate, tasteful, and safe. But Archie's taste is, how do we say this kindly? Archie's taste is like a man picking art the way he picks car parts. He wants it functional and unthreatening. The statue he brings is not romantic. It's not elegant. It's Archie's idea of culture, which basically means it's strange in a different direction. And the family looks at it like, you solved nothing. You just changed the flavor of the problem. The humor in all of this isn't that people are suffering. It's that the suffering comes dressed in everyday objects, soup, a statue, a broken air conditioner, while the real conflict is emotional. Archie isn't terrified of art. He's terrified of losing relevance. Gloria isn't furious about a statue. She's furious about being treated like she needs permission to exist as an adult. Edith isn't just trying to keep peace. She's trying to keep love alive in a home where pride keeps setting fires. Mike isn't just arguing. He's trying to build a world where reason matters. Frank isn't just cooking. He's trying to share joy. Irene isn't just fixing things. She's trying to be a good neighbor. And in the middle of it all, the heat presses down like a reminder that human beings are not always designed for calm. By the end of the day, nothing is perfectly resolved, because that's not how this family works. They don't end with a neat bow. They end with a fragile truce and the understanding that tomorrow will bring new arguments, new misunderstandings, new moments of tenderness hidden inside the noise. Archie doesn't magically become a different person. Gloria doesn't suddenly stop caring. Edith doesn't stop trying. Mike doesn't stop debating. The Lorenzos remain cheerful in a way that makes Archie suspicious and Edith delighted. And that's the strange comfort of it. For all their fighting, they don't break. They bend. They shout. They sulk. They threaten silence. They demand ketchup like it's oxygen. But they remain in each other's orbit because deep down, even Archie, especially Archie, needs that orbit. He needs the family to push against, to complain about, to pretend he doesn't need, because the truth would be too soft for him to admit. He loves them, and he's scared of losing them, and he doesn't know how to say that without turning it into an argument about cold soup.